Kim Ja-hong is a brave young firefighter who leaps from a tall burning building to save a little girl. After taking the full brunt of the impact, Kim quickly recovers and goes to check on the girl who has reunited with her parents. He asks what's her name, but she doesn't reply. Instead, she leaves with her family without even acknowledging him. Kim then senses something strange, a shift in the atmosphere. Everything looks the same yet seems so different, so distant. Then, he hears someone call his name and turns around to see a man and a woman, formally dressed, and smiling cheerfully. Out the side of his eye, he notices a group of his fellow firemen surrounding a body. It's his body. As he stares in disbelief and begins to freak out, the man and woman approach him and introduce themselves as Haewon and Deok-chun, two of the three guardians who will be guiding him through the 7 trials of the afterlife. They tell him that he died on April 28, 2017, right on time. As Kim pleads with them to allow him one last time to see his mother, he is forcefully transported through a portal to the underworld. Outside the gates of the 7 trials, Kim is introduced to the third guardian, Kang Rim. Kang Rim is a well-respected guardian, as he had successfully guided 47 souls through the 7 trials in the past 1,000 years. Once they approach the gates, Deok-chun presents Kim's ticket into the trial of the 7 hells, and she is pleasantly surprised that it says he is a paragon, a person who lived a righteous life and died an honorable death. She mentions that he is the first paragon in 422 years, and also states that a paragon has the highest chance of passing all 7 trials within the 49-day time limit, and if he does so, he can be reincarnated. Then, they enter through the gates. Their first stop is the Hell of Murder. If Kim had unjustly killed someone or did something that indirectly led to the death of someone, he will be tried, found guilty, and imprisoned here to suffer half a century of torment. Kim stands before the judge, King Byong-zong, as his charges are read aloud by the 2 insulting prosecutors of the underworld. They mention a colleague whom he had left behind in a burning building, injured and trapped, and suggest that he had enough time to return and rescue him. Yet instead, he left him there and the building eventually collapsed and killed him. The prosecutors then bring forward the charge of manslaughter, a sentence spanning 50 years in the Hell of Murder. Kang Rim then stands before the court as Kim's underworld attorney. He begins his defense by replaying the incident for the court. When Kim attempted to help his friend, they were interrupted by the screams of other survivors, injured and stuck within the building as well. The colleague told Kim to help the others and come back for him. After Kim got all the other people out of the building safely, he returned for his friend. But it was too late. The fire had consumed the building and it all came down, killing his buddy. Kang Rim tells the judge that after leaving his friend to help the survivors, Kim had saved 8 people's lives. 8 lives in return for one is a noble deed, and punishment would be unfair. King Byong-zong agrees and clears Kim of the charge before praising him as a hero. The guardians then lead Kim to the Hell of Indolence, a beautiful heavenly landscape, but don't let the view fool you, as just beyond the waterfall resides all the doomed souls. A large spinning crusher tortures all those that dare to seek refuge on the only visible patch of land. And those who try to escape into the pristine water are met with the razor-sharp bite of vicious piranhas. Just before the waterfall rests Queen Cha-gong. To her, Kim must present all the hard work he'd ever endured over his lifetime to prove he wasn't lazy and arrogant. The guardians then talk the Queen through all the good selfless work Kim had endured throughout his time as a firefighter. The Queen is very impressed with everything Kim had done to benefit the lives of others. She asks what inspired such great deeds and Kim simply says he did it all for money. Angered by this response, the Queen says that since money was God to him, he worshipped the wrong God. She then instructs the prosecutors to lower Kim beyond the waterfall. As Kim gets closer to the edge, Kang Rim and Haewon jump in and try to help Kim. Kang Rim then pleads with the Queen to look at the life of Kim one more time, but this time he offers a different perspective. Here, he shows Queen Cha-gong that Kim's life was much harder than just his work as a firefighter. Apart from his usual day job, Kim worked various jobs at night and even looked for work on weekends without getting a single day of rest. Kim had undertaken all of this work to support his terminally ill mother and younger brother who was studying to become a Supreme Court judge. Kang Rim ends his defense by saying that had Kim not worked for his family they wouldn't be alive today. The Queen then comes to her final verdict. She says that even though Kim worked for money, he did it for a selfless purpose, and for that reason, she's out. On their way to the next trial, the group is ambushed by dangerous 4-legged monsters of the Blade Forest of the underworld. When they manage to barely escape the forest, Haewon tells Kim that the monster's attack means that an immediate family member of his has died and become a vengeful spirit, and they're now roaming the earth, which is causing anomalies along his path on the trial. Kim is concerned that his mother may have passed away. Kang Rim tells them that the only way to end this is to find the body of the family member and burn it, which will destroy the spirit. So he makes his way to the realm of the living to find the deceased. The other two guardians blindfold Kim as the monsters can see what he can, and they lead him to the next trial, the Hell of Deceit. Here, Kim will be judged by Admiral Yi Sun-sin on whatever lies he had told and the impact they had. The prosecutors present the charge of forgery, 98 fake letters that were all written by Kim to the children of his fallen colleagues. One specific case is brought forward. The dead colleague who Kim had failed to rescue. His young daughter, Ji-yeon, had received letters from Kim, who had pretended to be her father. In the letters, he tried to encourage and guide her. Kim explains that she was only a little girl and he wanted to give her some comfort. But the prosecutors ask if he ever took into consideration the despair she would feel once she discovered the letters were fake. Kim is lost for words, which angers and prompts the admiral to have his tongue removed. Deok-chun then defends Kim by bringing forth even more fake letters, these ones addressed to his mother. In these letters Kim tells his mother of his wonderful family, his wife and son, and his amazing life, all of which were lies as he was never married, neither did he have any kids. Deok-chun states that had Kim not written these letters to his mother while she was battling in hospital, she may not have found the strength to fight and recover as she did. The prosecutors ask once more about the despair his mother may suffer once she finds out it was all lies, but Deok-chun says that had he not written those letters in the first place, then those people may not have grown as much and moved on. The admiral is then shown how happy Kim's mom was when she read the letters and how the letters inspired the little girl, Ji-yeon, to write back to her father and thank him for all his encouraging words before moving on. The admiral then clears Kim of all charges and allows him to leave. On Earth, Kang Rim visits Kim's house to find his mother, who is a mute woman, and tells her that he came to pay his respects to Kim. When she closes the door to give him some privacy, Kang Rim confronts the spirit of Kim Soo-hong, Kim's brother, who had been hiding within the burning candle smoke. He asks where he died, but the spirit escapes and an epic chase ensues. After failing to catch the spirit, Kang Rim contacts Kim and the Guardians at the Hell of Deceit and tells Kim that both his mom and brother are fine. As Kim rejoices, Kang Rim tells the other two Guardians the truth about Kim's brother, and says that it's best for the sake of the trials that Kim doesn't know. Kang Rim resumes his mission to find and destroy the spirit while the group continue the journey to the next trial. Along the way, Kim tells Deok-chun about a rice cooker he was supposed to gift his mother before he died, as a thanks for all the delicious scorched rice she made him and his brother when they were kids. Also, within the cooker he had left one last letter. In this letter he had written the truth, about how he had lied in the previous letters just to make her happy and proud, and how he had missed her so much. The group then travel to the Hell of Injustice, a place where souls are punished for up to hundreds of years for refusing to help those in need in the living world. Because Kim is a paragon, he gets a free pass through this hell without a trial. On Earth, Kang Rim goes to the military base where Kim's brother Soo-hong was stationed. He finds out that Soo-hong has been labeled a deserter, and the military is looking for him, but it's quite odd that he would desert given that he was only a few days away from being discharged. Under the pretense of being a commander that's investigating the desertion of Soo-hong, he questions Lieutenant Park, who had placed Soo-hong on duty, and can easily make out that he's hiding something. He then finds Sergeant Dong-yeon, who was alone on duty with Soo-hong the night he disappeared, and he turns back time to discover that Soo-hong was the only friend Dong had in the military, whilst everyone else would pick on him for his slow, quiet and shy nature. Soo-hong would encourage Dong-yeon by singing with him one particular song he wrote about being in the military to help him through the tough time. Kang Rim then travels back to the night when Soo-hong went missing. That night, Dong-yeon was nervous and afraid, so he was playing with the safety of his rifle. He was scared that Soo-hong would soon be off duty and he wouldn't be there to deter his bullies. Soo-hong tells him that he'd come check up on him even after his discharge, and that Lieutenant Park would look out for him as well. Right after they embrace, Soo-hong tells Dong-yeon to hold his rifle properly, and in trying to do so, he fires one round into Soo-hong's abdomen. Soo-hong tells Dong-yeon to radio Lieutenant Park and him only. When Lieutenant Park rushes over, he decides not to report it and instead persuades Dong-yeon to help him hide the body, all the while telling him it's what Soo-hong would have wanted. Kang Rim notices that Soo-hong wasn't dead that night, instead the two of them killed him by burying him alive to cover up the incident. After finding the body, Kang Rim decides not to destroy it but rather to save the soul of Soo-hong by helping him shed his vengeance. In the underworld, the carriage reminds Kim of when his little brother wanted to go on the cable car. Deok-chun tells him that she envies him, as the Guardians, who were also once mortals on Earth, are wiped of the memories of their past lives. An argument between her and Haewon leads him to reveal to Kim that his brother is dead and he is the vengeful spirit. Kang Rim follows a drunk Dong-yeon into a club where he spots the spirit trying to kill him. Another epic chase ensues, with Kang Rim finally catching the soul of Soo-hong. He pleads with Soo-hong to give up and come with him in order to help his brother along the trial, but to his surprise, Soo-hong hasn't seen his brother in 15 years since he ran away from the family, and he hates him. Soo-hong then escapes. Dong-yun then arrives at Kim's mom's house, and throws something inside before running away. Kim's mom discovers that it's a map leading to Soo-hong's body, and Soo-hong also sees the map. Dong-yun then attempts to do the unthinkable to himself, while Kang-rim watches him. Soo-hong then appears behind Kang-rim and pleads with him to save Dong-yun's life, and in return he'll do whatever he asks. Kang-rim reluctantly agrees, while sternly stating that meddling in the world of the living will result in consequences along Kim's trial. Using Kang-rim as his voice, Soo-hong first sings the song he wrote to prove it's him, as Dong-yun can only see Kang-rim. Then he tells him that he has forgiven him, and says that he should move on. Along the way, Kim and the two guardians go to the fifth trial, the Hell of Betrayal, where souls are punished for selfish betrayals by being trapped within a mirror and destroyed. Queen Songi lets Kim pass without a trial as he is a paragon of righteousness. To get to the next trial, the group must travel down a vacuum sinkhole, which leads to the Hell of Violence. Here, Kang-rim's meddling in the living world takes effect, and the group falls hundreds of miles to their doom, or so they thought. Once Kang-rim is done, Kim and the other two guardians come to a halt and are presented in front of King Jingwang in the Hell of Violence. Here, Kim's charge is for beating his younger brother, who was suffering from malnutrition, for no apparent reason. It was after this incident that he ran away from home and never apologized for what he did. And his brother never forgave him. The guardians try to make their defense, but the king says no defense can be made. There is a clear victim and Kim was never forgiven. He swiftly rushes to his verdict while the two guardians try to get Kang-rim to help. Kang-rim tells Deok-chun to request a combined trial, but Hae-won is extremely reluctant to go along with this. Deok-chun then requests a combined trial and it is granted. A combined trial means that the charges will be presented in the next court along with the charges of that particular trial. If the defendant is found guilty of all of the charges in the next court, then there will be additional punishments for the defendant, and his guardians will be stripped of their duties and all of the benefits of being a guardian. The group then heads over to the next trial, the Hell of Filial Impiety, where souls are judged on how well they respected their parents. Before they reach the court, Kim confesses to the two guardians that he wasn't a good son. His mom was dying of terminal illness and they had nobody else. His brother and he were starving each day, and it was only a matter of time before they all suffer a terrible fate. So that night 15 years ago, when he ran away from home, he tried to end their suffering. He tried to kill his mother while she was asleep, but his brother had woken up and tried to stop him. So he beat him up and ran away out of guilt. Had he gone through with it, he was going to crush up all of the sleeping pills and put them in the food the next day, and his brother and he were going to die as well. He never saw his mother or brother since then, and only sent her letters. Hae-won is pissed. After Kang-rim helps Soo-hong restore his soul, Soo-hong sees his mother enter the base and confront them about her son. Since she is mute, she has a message pleading with them to help her find her son, over her chest. Lieutenant Park tries to stop her and pushes her away, which angers Soo-hong. Eventually, she shows Lieutenant Park the map, which infuriates him even more, and he shoves her to the ground after taking it from her. She is then carried into an ambulance on a stretcher. Witnessing this, Soo-hong unleashes his vengeful spirit once more, and he conjures up a huge tornado in pursuit of Lieutenant Park. This affects the Netherrealm once more, and sand demons begin to attack Kim and the two guardians. After failing to free Lieutenant Park from Soo-hong, Kang-rim calls upon Hae-won to help him. As a fierce battle ensues between both parties, Kim is slowly being swallowed by the ground. Once Kang-rim and Hae-won get Park to safety, Soo-hong witnesses his brother being swallowed by the sand and decides to end his pursuit for vengeance and restores his soul. As soon as he does so, the court of the final trial emerges before Kim. King Yomra, the Lord of the Underworld, reads out Kim's charge. He states that Kim had tried to kill his mother 15 years ago, and for that reason, he will be sentenced. Deok-chun pleads with the king, mentioning that Kim's mother was asleep during the incident and unaware of it. So how can he be punished for a sin against his mother that he didn't even commit and she doesn't even know of? King Yomra corrects her by revealing within the mirror of karma that Kim's mother did in fact know the entire time. She only pretended to be asleep. When Kim was about to kill her, she cried as it broke her heart, but she knew that this would allow her children a better life, so she was willing to sacrifice herself for their sake. Upon finding out that his mother knew all this time, Kim falls to his knees and bursts into tears, pleading with Yomra to punish him as he deserves it. The prosecutors then read out all of the charges. As they do so, an earthquake interrupts them, and in the mirror of karma we see Soo-hong enter his mother's dream while she is unconscious in the ambulance. He tells his mother that he has become a Supreme Court judge in the afterlife. He then reminds his mother about the day Kim had attempted to end their family. He tells her that even though Kim tried to kill them, he couldn't go through with it and ran away, but he didn't desert them. Instead, he stayed away from them out of guilt and worked like a slave his entire life to support them. Had he not done so, they would be dead anyway. Su-hong then forgives his brother and hugs his mom, and for the first time, he hears her speak. She calls his name and tries to comfort him. She tells him that all of it was her fault. None of that would have happened if she was a better mother. Upon hearing this, King Yomra decides that there are no charges. A sin forgiven in the living world cannot be punished in the underworld. And so he instructs that upon his arrival through the heavenly gates, Kim be reincarnated immediately. Kim thanks Deok Chun before he leaves. In the living world, Kang Rim does one last thing before leaving. He delivers the rice cooker to Kim's mom at the hospital. At home, she opens it and finds his letter. She reads it and smiles. The end.